You haven't talked to them in months, maybe longer, but they're still there in the back of your mind, in the split second before you fall asleep. In the song that comes on when you're not ready for it. In the stranger's laugh that sounds too familiar. You've moved on, technically. You've deleted the messages. You've given back the things. You've told your friends you're fine. But your brain didn't get the memo. Here's what nobody tells you about the breakup. The pain isn't a sign that you made the wrong choice. It's not evidence that you should go back. It's not weakness. It's not failure to heal. It's your brain doing something it was never designed to stop doing. And once you understand what that is, you stop fighting it. You stop feeling broken by it. You start to see it for what it actually is. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The person living in your head isn't really them. It's a reconstruction, a model your brain built from thousands of data points collected over the course of the relationship. They laugh, the way they texted, the specific weight of their presence in a room, version of you that existed when they were around. Neuroscientist Helen Fisher spent years studying the brains of people in love. What she found changed how we understand heartbreak. When you love someone, your brain doesn't just feel something, it reorganizes around them. The reward circuits that fire for food, for safety, for survivor, start firing for that person. They become neurologically necessary, not metaphorically, literally. Your brain mapped them as essential. And then they left. Your brain is still running the math. This is why you think about them when you're eating at the restaurant you used to go to. Why a certain street feels wrong now. Why your apartment has rooms that still carry their absence like a bruise. Your brain built a word that included them. It doesn't know how to unbuild it overnight. That's not weakness. That's architecture. Here's a part that should make you feel less alone. Helen Fisher put people who had just been through breakups into a fMRI machine. She showed them photos of their ex. The brain regions that activated were the same ones that activate in cocaine withdrawal. Not similar, the same. Your brain is in withdrawal from a person. The dopamine system that was trained to expect them, their text, their presence, their attention is now starving. And a starving dopamine system doesn't quietly accept loss. It searches, it obsesses, it replays, it finds reasons to hope. This is why you check their Instagram at 2 a.m. Not because you want to, because your reward system is running the same loop it always ran, looking for the hit it was conditioned to expect. This is why breakup pain feels physical. The anterior cingulate cortex, the region that processes physical pain, is also the region that processes social rejection. They share the same neural real estate. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a broken arm and a broken relationship. Both are injuries, both hurt, both heal. Just not on anyone else's timeline. There's something your memory is doing right now that you probably haven't noticed. It's editing. Psychologist Martin Conway's research on autobiographical memory found that when we lost something significant, our memory system prioritizes the positive. The good moments become more vivid. The difficult ones fade or get reframed. This is nostalgia. It's a cognitive bias with a name. Rosy retrospection. The fights blur. The incompatibilities soften. The specific reasons it ended become abstract. But the first morning you woke up together, the trip where everything felt right, the version of yourself you were when they looked at you like that, those stay sharp, fully rendered, immediately accessible. So when your brain searches for them at 2 a.m., it's not searching for the full, accurate version of the relationship. It's searching for the highlight reel, the edited version, the one that makes you wonder why you ever let it end. You didn't let a perfect relationship end. You let an imperfect one go, and your memory quietly rearranged the evidence while you weren't watching. Here's the part nobody talks about. When a long relationship ends, you don't just lose a person. You lose a version of yourself. Think about it. Over the course of a relationship, you build shared routines, shared references, shared ways of seeing things. You develop habits that only exist in the context of that person. You become, in small and large ways, a version of yourself that was shaped by their presence. When they leave, a version of you has nowhere to go. Psychologist Arthur Aaron developed what he called the self-expansion model of relationships. His research found that we don't just fall in love with people, we incorporate them into our sense of self. Their interests become our interests. Their word becomes part of your word. Our identity expands to include them. When the relationship ends, that expansion contracts suddenly. The grief isn't just about missing them, it's about the sudden shrinkage of who you are, the loss of the self that exists in relation to them. This is why people say things like, I don't know who I am without them. That's not codependency talking, that's neuroscience. Your self concept took a hit. It needs time to rebuild, not to return to who you were before, but to grow into whoever comes next. You replay the last conversation 100 times. If I said something different, if I'd been different, if I'd seen it coming. This isn't masochism. It's your brain trying to solve a problem. Psychologists call it counterfactual thinking, the mental simulation of alternative outcomes. What if I had done this instead? What if it had gone differently? It's a cognitive tool. It exists to help you learn from experience so you can do better next time. The problem is that for emotionally significant events, the tool gets stuck. The brain keeps running the simulation because it hasn't reached a satisfying resolution. It keeps generating alternatives because it hasn't fully accepted that outcome was real and final. Every time you replay it, you're looking for the version where it turns out differently. The version doesn't exist. And the brain eventually has to accept that. But it doesn't accept it because you tell it to. It accepts it through time, through new experience, through gradually building evidence that life continues and reorganizes itself without the person at the center. You can't think your way out of this. You have to live your way out. Most advice about breakups misses the point. Stay busy, focus on yourself, you'll find someone better. These aren't wrong, they're just incomplete, because they treat heartbreak like a distraction problem when it's actually a neurological one. Here's what the research actually says. First, no contact isn't just emotional advice. It's neurological necessity. Every time you check their profile, text them, drive past their apartment, you're re-exposing your reward system to stimulus it's trying to detach from. You're extending the withdrawal. You're resetting the clock. The research on addiction recovery applies directly here. Distance from the stimulus is not optional. It's the mechanism of recovery. Second, the grief needs to move, not be suppressed. Psychologist James Pennebaker's decades of research found that expressive writing about emotional experiences, putting the feelings into words on paper, accelerates emotional processing and reduces the duration of distress. Not because the words fix anything, because the act of articulating experience helps the brain make meaning from it. And meaning is what allows the brain to file the experience away instead of keeping it active. Write about it badly, just for yourself. Third, new experiences aren't about replacing them. They're about giving your brain new data, new associations, new reasons to file its reward system in direction that don't route through that person. Every new positive experience is a small piece of evidence you're not moving on from them. You're building around them. Until eventually the architecture of your life is large enough that the space that occupied becomes proportionally smaller. Here's what I want you to hear. The fact that they still live in your head doesn't mean you're not healing. It means your brain did its job. It attached, it built, it mapped someone as essential, and now it's slowly, painfully learning to reroute. That process is not linear. It doesn't respect the timeline you set for yourself. It doesn't care that it's been 6 months, or that you've started dating again, or that everyone around you thinks you should be over it by now. It moves at the speed of neuroscience, not at the speed of expectation. They're in your head because you love them, because something real happened, because your brain, for a period of time, organized itself around them. That's not a flow. That's what love does. The question isn't how to make them disappear faster. The question is how to build something so full, so present, so genuinely yours, that there's less and less room for the ghost of what used to be. You're not broken. You're not stuck. You're rebuilding. And rebuilding takes exactly as long as it takes. If this gave words to something you've been feeling, subscribe.